You and Chris are going to be in here talking about God knows what.
What's up, good people? Welcome to the podcast. You have managed to find, or tune into, or subscribe to. Gosh, we'd really like it if you would just subscribe to us, to The Retro Show. Wherever you get your podcast, you can find The Retro Show with Butch and Chris. And I am Butch Renfro, and with me, as always, my partner in crime,
Chris Curtis. Well, listen to that crowd.
Listen to that crowd go wild. Hi, folks.
It's a tradition.
Folks, if you're just now, if you're new to the podcast, let me tell you what we are all about here at the Retro Show. The Retro Show is all about looking back at the wonderful world of the 70s and 80s through rose-colored glasses. And when we, or in Chris's case, beer goggles. And when we all grew up in the 70s and 80s and just had a wonderful time doing it. And so it's just a look back. It's an homage to when we all grew up. And then we're talking about the movies and the music and the trends of what it was like to grow up in the 70s and the 80s. As always, you can find out where to listen to us. Of course, obviously you found us if you're listening to us. But every place that you want to send your friends, like if you want to tell your friends about us, you just go to retroshow.net. Retroshow.net has links to the show notes, previous podcast, and of course all the information about where to hook up on Facebook with us. And
not to mention infinite wisdom.
Yes.
I mean, you there's no price tag for that.
No. You just go back and listen to any of the podcasts that we do. Young folks, we will impart wisdom to you. Or maybe cautionary tales of what not to do.
Don't do
There's
that.
a lot of that. Yeah. You know, it seems like a lot of wisdom is hard won.
It is. I mean, I think, my mom always said wisdom. Dad always said wisdom. And I'm thinking, yeah, now it's like, oh, you screwed up. Oh, okay, yeah. I get it.
Now you're going to learn from that, ain't you, boy? You know, and that's the difference. You know, here's what people, I think, younger than us really don't understand, because a lot of these younger folks maybe don't know a world without internet or anything like that. And we were born in a time where we didn't have that. We didn't have cable television.
We barely had computers. And you were kind of loaded or had a business if you had a computer.
Yeah. They weren't cheap back then. Even by today's, I saw an ad not too long ago. I think it was for Radio Shack, and like a Tandy, that was basically all of the processing power of a hamster. You
probably get more processing power out of a hamster.
But like those things were like $6,000 back in, the early '80s, and if you. Normal people couldn't do that. That had to be a tax write-off, to be able to afford to get one of those. But
I remember, what was that computer you had?
Commodore 64.
Oh my gosh, we had so much fun with that.
And really, it was just a glorified video game system.
It was, but what was that basketball game? It was so much fun.
It was Dr. J versus Larry Bird.
And it was fun.
That was a great video game. We had a good time with that thing. We really did. But anyway, one of the things that we want to tell you about, a little housekeeping here, is something new here. Chris knows about this now because I told him about this, and that any of the music-related podcasts that we have now, we have two versions out there. Now, if you listen to us on any of the streaming services, we thank you, and that is the number one way you can support us. But if you want a little something, a little something extra, a little something special.
It's all about the extras.
Little something extra. Spotify actually hosts our podcast. That is the company who basically serves up our podcast, and it gets distributed to wherever you are listening to this podcast. And if it is Spotify, you're in luck because we now do enhanced podcasts through Spotify, which basically means this. If we do a music-related podcast, you're going to be able to hear complete songs on there. So,
Most of it, what we're talking about at the time, and if you're not familiar with the music, it will definitely add some spice.
Some spicy.
Some spice.
Amazing. Why is this so spicy? And it just adds a little extra. So yeah, you can go in here. Basically, if you have a podcast a Spotify subscription, you will be able to hear these enhanced versions of our podcast. But you can hear us basically anywhere you get your podcast, and
then you can add your own spice.
And you can add your own spice. You can still make it extra spicy.
I mean, if we're talking Van Halen and you want to listen to Wham, we get it.
What? What? Where did that come from?
Wake me up before you go.
No, that's just wrong. Things that make you go, bah. Anyway, Chris.
Yes, sir.
You like to blow things up, don't you?
I do.
And especially when we were kids. And so now that it's getting around to Independence Day here in the United States, the 4th of July, we thought we would go back and look at fireworks.
The stuff you should not do.
And yes, let me go ahead and tell you, the things we're about to tell you that we did, you should never do because they were stupid.
Yep.
But
wisdom.
Yeah, wisdom. Wisdom, hard-fought wisdom. But basically, let me go ahead and set the scene for you. If you live in a state that doesn't have fireworks stands,
outside the city limits, but they're everywhere.
But they're everywhere. We live in a state that basically, I was looking online today, Chris, and it's like us, Texas, Pennsylvania, a few other places really don't put any restrictions on fireworks. It's hilarious because Arkansas law, where we live, if you're 12 years old, you can buy fireworks. Which, sure, okay, let's do that.
You know what? We did it.
We did it.
We're fine. I think there's too many restrictions these days. Just do away with all the restrictions.
Well, it would, That's the reason that they put all of these warnings now on products that you buy. Is because they just don't let people learn the hard way. But
there's something to be said for natural selection.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know.
Get that out of the gene pool early.
Listen, I still got most of my fingers, and so. But basically, like I've said before, people of our generation, we were feral children. They basically put us out and said, "Don't come back until it's time to eat."
I know you young folks out there and the old folks too. If y'all follow any TikTok at all, you've seen these Gen X videos where people tell you, we were drinking from garden hoses. Yes. We didn't come in the house. We didn't. I mean, that's all true. Every bit of that's true. I mean,
you know why? Because you're letting out air conditioning.
That's right. We're not paying.
We're not made of money.
We're not paying to cool this whole neighborhood, son.
That is one of the great dad lines of history. I'm not paying to air condition the whole neighborhood, boy. In or out? Matter of fact, just go out. Out. So yeah, we would be out all the time, and around this time of year, these fireworks stands would pop up basically on any corner.
2 weeks before.
About 2 weeks before.
Yeah. And 2 weeks after, they had about a month to sell. And by golly, you could get some deals.
And
you knew how to work it.
Buy one, get one. And, you would buy these things. And so we would find inventive ways to use explosive devices. And one of those ways was, you'd mentioned that you like to build models. Well, I did too. Well, not every model turned out great.
No. That's true.
So usually mine that were subpar would be used to blow up.
Well, yeah. Yeah. I mean, you got to have anti-aircraft.
Yes. Exactly.
I mean, come on. You're saying that. I was a big, as a little boy, I mean, it was very cheap to go down to the Sterling store, Ben Franklin's store. Walmart was not in existence yet, but you had Sterling store, Sterling's 5 and dime. You remember that downtown, and the Ben Franklin store. And plastic army men were cheap.
Oh yeah,
I
it's
mean,
like
cheap.
a bag for 30 cents.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. And you would just set those up around the 4th of July, and by golly, you were lobbing grenades.
You were. Grenade, Bob! Bob's not going to make it, you know. And I'm going to tell you, okay, so another rabbit hole here. G.I. Joes.
Oh, yeah.
Remember G.I. Joes?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so first of all.
And we're not talking about the miniature G.I. Joe. We're talking about the 12-inch Barbie doll out on a weekend pass going, you know, that
Sorry,
size G.I.
Ken.
Joe. yeah.
Barbie's going out with G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe's a SEAL, and he's coming home.
That's right. But they had G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip. And I'm going to say that more than once, maybe G.I. Joe was holding on to a Black Cat firecracker.
Yeah, but you know what? He was tougher than boot
He was
leather.
tough. And
it always survived.
And he always survived. But anyway, but, you know, back in the day, we didn't really have fireworks shows. You know, a lot of cities now do, you know, like big fireworks shows that people can go. And I love those, man. Those are impressive fireworks. Cool. And, I love going to see those. But there's something to be said for a bunch of 12-year-old boys getting a bag of fireworks, which I know you and I did. And going out there.
Did you ever buy the mortars and stuff like that? I always just went bottle rockets and firecrackers.
Well, they didn't really have those, I think, when we were kids. I've seen them more lately.
Yeah. I don't know because we was always bottle rockets.
Well, we were broke anyway.
Yeah.
Because we were buying the cheap stuff, man. We was like, so it was either bottle rockets, and I remember at one time for like $1.50. You could get a gross of bottle rockets.
And for you that don't know what a gross is, that's 144.
You can get 144 bottle rockets, and it was buy one, get one free.
So you got
288 bottle rockets.
I didn't want to do the math, Butch. We're not doing math on this show.
Well, that's okay.
Thank you.
I got you.
Thank you.
That. So, but yeah, and we would get those, and then, and I'm just going to say that the big three for me were firecrackers, bottle rockets, Roman candles.
You know, for me, I always dug smoke bombs. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But I did. I always bought smoke bombs.
I can smell that. I'm just telling you right now. I can smell that.
Smoke bombs just had it had a special place in my heart. You know, you needed the fog of war on the battlefield when you were lobbing grenades at the Army men, so you had to have smoke bombs too.
Take that, you commie!
Rockets!
But, yeah. Oh, yeah, you could set up your Army men.
Yeah.
You get the bottle rockets after you got the fog of war from the smoke bombs.
You're with me. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So, you know, moving from that, as you get a little older, you start having these fantastical thoughts. You know what? Why don't we split up into teams and just have a bottle rocket war?
Once again, let us go ahead and state at this point that you should never do any of the things that we're talking about, children. We do not accept any liability for anything that you do that's stupid.
Yep.
Okay. We're just, I mean, you could look at this as a cautionary tale.
No safety glasses.
No safety glasses. But yeah, we would get out, and I'm just going to say that some people had bottle rocket wars where they would they would get like some little tube or like usually a spent Roman candle.
Do you remember those plastic weights? Those plastic weight sets that everybody got?
Yeah.
Those handles out of those, buddy.
Oh, because
that was it.
Yeah.
That was
you could aim really good with those,
especially the dumbbells because it was portable and you could just carry it. And you could put like 3 or 4 bottle rockets in there and wrap the fuses together and light them all at once, dude. And it was just...
You do realize this has just turned into an episode of Beavis and Butthead.
It has. Podcast. And I mean, it is, but it's what we did.
But it's what we did.
It is what we did.
I can tell you one of the things. Okay, so, folks, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, Chris, I'm going to have to tell him the Feehan story.
Mike.
Should I tell him the Feehan story?
He's a legend.
He is a legend. And we're going to be back in just a bit.
Hey guys, it's Butch here, and I just want to thank each and every one of you who have signed up to support the podcast. And so, without any further ado, here are our producers: Fran Adams, E.M., Bradford Mason, and Tanya Highland. thanks to each and every one of you for signing up to commit to $3 a month to support the Retro Show podcast. Now, just to let you know, right now we have two levels. One is $3 a month. The other one, $1.5 million a month. No, I'm not kidding. If you have more money than common sense and you want to give Chris and I $1.5 million a month for 12 months, we're out of here. I'm serious. We're going to split that money and then we're done. But we'll take you fishing. So there's that. So $3 a month or $1.5 million a month. You can go to retroshow.net, click on support the podcast, and learn how to get started. Listen, we love each and every one of you, and we thank you for listening.
Okay. Folks, we are back, and sometimes we entertain ourselves. Here's... So we're talking fireworks today, and we grew up in a state where you could basically, if you were old enough to push the money over the counter, you could buy anything you wanted to.
There was a lot of things that you can do that with, not just fireworks.
That's very true.
I mean, as of today.
Yeah.
You can't do today.
That you can't do today.
I can't tell you how many times I was sent into the store to buy my parents cigarettes.
Yes. I got sent across the road to Holloway's Grocery to buy cigarettes for my mom when she forgot to pick them up in town.
And then as we got older and started like experimenting with tobacco.
Yeah. Tobacco.
I guess you would call it that. Snuff.
GUNPOWDER. Tobacco.
Dip. Whatever. I mean, if you could get the money on the counter, they'd sell it to you.
They'd sell it to you.
It
was supposed to be 18, but nobody ever checked that. But yeah, we did. Yeah. Well, glorious results of a misspent youth. But we did have a great time with fireworks. And one of the tales that I have to tell you now is about a dear friend of ours who lived here. He actually moved away when we were still in like junior high. It's a guy named Feehan, and he lived in the neighborhood with us. And Mike was the guy that's like, if there was a whole group of us together and someone came up with a great idea, someone would say, well, that's a great idea, but I'm not going to do it. And the next guy would say, well, I'm not going to do it.
He was our Mikey.
Feehan would say, I'll do it.
I'll do it. Yep.
So what we decided one day is my dad was was getting into muzzleload black powder hunting at the time and had just an insane amount of black powder, like old school musket black powder that he used. And so, once again, dumb things that a seventh grader does.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Before did you get a beating over this?
Yes. Spoiler alert. I was going to tell him that at the end, but yes, this ends up in a good old country butt whipping.
Growing up in that era and
Yeah.
growing up at Butch's house, and he's telling this story, and I remember this story, but
Yeah.
you just know the outcome.
You just know. Guys, it's just foreshadowing. So I sneak into Dad's little room where he does his, where he keeps all of his black powder.
The vault.
The vault. And I take like a Dixie cup full of this black powder because he's got enough. He'll never notice. So we go down to the end of our driveway. And it's you, me, the Clegg brothers, and Feehan.
Y'all ever heard that name before? The Clegg twins.
The Clegg twins. And so what we did is we dumped this out. Well, because we're and I'm doing, folks, please air quotes here, because we're smart. I say, because safety first, also in air quotes, that I have some leftover fireworks, and what I'll do is we'll pull the fuses out, and we'll twist them together to make a long fuse to go to this black powder to see what'll happen. Well, so we twist them together, and we have a pile of black powder down here, and we have a fuse run into it, and I light it, and it goes, and then it stops about a quarter inch away from the black powder. And if you've ever done fireworks before, that's deceptive because it may be out. It may just be sitting there for a little bit. So,
I mean, they're made in China. You never know.
you never know. So we tell, and so we all look at each other and we're just like, Feehan, who'll do anything. Hey, Mike, get down there and blow on that. So Mike gets on his hands and knees about 8 inches away from this fuse. And as he inhales to blow on this, it decides to go ahead and just rest of the way into that black powder, and it ignites.
At 9,000 times faster than it was going when we lit it.
That's exactly right. And so this thing, this incredible flash of light and smoke, heat that I can feel from 6 feet away. And when the smoke clears, because black powder has a lot of smoke with it. When this stuff clears, here's Feehan. Now, he's a blonde-haired kid, and he used to have bangs. But they have been burnt back to his hairline. His eyebrows look like 2 black caterpillars.
They're gone.
They're basically gone, and they just crumble away. I'm laughing like a hyena on crack.
Hey, it wasn't just you.
And we were just howling. And so Mike gets mad, goes home. And I don't think anything of it until about a half hour later when his mom calls my dad.
Yeah, his mom would tell everything, too.
And things get a little blurry after that. But, yeah, but you talked about, did I get in trouble? Yes, I got in an incredible...
I knew you got in trouble. I was just making that statement. I've been around more than one of your ass beatings. So.
There were a couple, but anyway, that's the Feehan story. And listen,
this is my favorite line from Doc. Doc is Butch's dad. Butch, you need to come up here, and he'd go in the house, and then he'd come out. Well, Butch is not going to be back out today.
Yeah.
Y'all boys can go home.
You boys can go home. Butch is not coming back out. I was probably at that point in my room doing that, what I call the hootie puckers. You know, when you're crying, you go, you know, when you're crying.
That'll learn you.
That'll learn you. But yeah, when you get a good case of the hootie puckers from, from crying like that. But yeah, man, it was. But anyway, yeah, but what's a little pyromania among friends? That's what I always say.
So, these people. These people don't. The Logans.
Yeah.
I mean, I spent a lot of time down at the Logans. They lived on the lake, and I was 2 blocks from the lake, and all of us had 3-wheelers. We were always riding and stuff. Well, we got on up into, I was probably in junior high school, I would say, or maybe 10th grade high school. But there were 3 boys. There was Alan, who was 2 years older than me, Rusty, who was 2 years younger than me, and then Boyd at that time really didn't count because he was too young.
Yeah.
But a name from the past, Joey Ward.
Yeah.
Joey was spending the night with Alan, and I was spending the night with Rusty. And Doc, who was a dentist, he specifically told us, no fireworks, boys, it's too dry. And so,
oh no,
about 1:00 in the morning, we decide we're going to have a bottle rocket war, and it's going to be me and Alan against Joey and Rusty. And we're down by the lake, and me and Alan are out in the pasture, and Joey and Rusty are over by the lake, by this little shed they had. Oh God, I can see this like it was yesterday. Me and Alan are tearing Rusty and Joey's ass up. I mean, just shoo pow, shoo pow, shoo pow. And all of a sudden, they had like a 2-level house on the back, and they had this long back deck that went across the whole back of the house. One door went to like the dining area and the kitchen, and the other door went to Doc and Wanda's bedroom.
Oh no.
And I heard that sliding glass door open on that deck. And I told Alan, I said, Alan, your dad's coming. Alan goes, hey guys, don't shoot anymore. Don't shoot anymore. And about that time, Rusty lights up a Roman candle. And it was like, and it flashed, poof, and you'd see Doc in his underwear. boom, boom, and it flashed, and Doc was a little bit closer in his underwear.
Doc in his tighty whitey striding across the field to wreak vengeance.
I think the only person that got his ass beat was Rusty because he was the one firing the Roman candle off.
Oh, no.
I will never forget that. It was like, because it was pitch black outside, and you just get that flash from the Roman candle, and Doc be a little bit closer in his underwear. He was so pissed off. He was mad.
We had a neighbor who lived down the hill from us. You remember Ty Gray?
Oh, yeah.
So Ty is like my closest neighbor that's anywhere close to my age. And him and my parents are like, at this point, they're like best friends.
His parents and your parents.
Yes. His parents and my parents are like best friends. And so, I mean, he's always over at the house. Well, it was the 4th of July, and they were, celebrating on the top of the hill where my folks live. Well, Ty and I decided, and we're like, I'm like 10 and he's like 13. Well, we get the fireworks out, and we're supposed to wait for Dad to come out with us to do that. And no. And so it's like you said, I can see this like it was yesterday. You know how with bottle rockets sometimes, once again, kids, this is a cautionary tale. Don't do this. You would light it and wait for the fuse to get down, then you would throw it, and then it would take off.
Yeah.
I underestimated a little bit.
You get more hype that way.
But if it goes in too fast, and sometimes they just blow up.
Yeah.
So you had to be careful with those. And so I light this bottle rocket. I throw it up in the air, and it goes up, and then it starts to arc down. Then it ignites, and it comes down at an angle and hits Ty right in the middle of the chest. So this thing is still going, and he's got a white T-shirt on, and he's turning side to side while this bottle rocket is just like going right in the middle of his chest and blows up, and he has like this big, giant black blasting thing.
But you know, people would pay good money for that these days.
Yeah, that's called,
It's graphic art. I mean, that's awesome.
That'd be a custom tee. We sell it for $500 in New York City. But, yeah, like I said, folks, these are cautionary tales. Kids, don't do this. This is just me and Uncle Chris reminiscing about the days where we used to do stupid stuff and we still lived and have good stories to tell.
You know, for all the tales that we tell you that nothing really happened. I mean, stuff happened, but nothing, no serious injuries. There were stories all the time that people were jacked up for the rest of their life because they did stupid stuff with fireworks. And so it's funny to listen to us, but come on.
If you make it to this point, please realize that emergency rooms all over on the 4th of July are filled with people
idiots.
Who were we were also those idiots.
That's what I'm saying.
And they are filled with people every 4th of July who are maimed, disfigured, burned. Digits are blown away, not to make any, not to make light of that. So, just know that really what we're telling you is don't do that, but we did it. And we're just telling you what we did. We're not telling you that it was smart. We're telling you that we did it.
Have I ever told you the Cadron Valley debacle?
Cadron Valley Country Club?
Yes. I was not involved, but I know somebody that
was.
was.
The two people who were, because I have heard it from their very mouths.
Yeah, I did too. And we're not going to. I'm not going to tell their names. I know one of them really good. He's a good friend of mine.
Yeah, me too.
But they were charged with setting off the fireworks for the country club, and when I say fireworks, I ain't talking bottle rockets, Jack. I'm talking big fireworks. Yeah. Because back in that day, there were two country clubs, Conway and Cadron Valley, and they were basically less than a mile apart, maybe a mile apart, but
maybe
less.
A mile.
But literally in Conway, you could park between them and watch both shows, and it was awesome. I mean, they had big fireworks. And somehow they had all those fireworks in the back of an S10 pickup down there getting ready to set them off, and somehow they got lit early.
Yeah.
They ended up in a pond, the two guys. Yeah. And they
burned the golf course.
Oh, yeah. The S10 pickup was completely destroyed. I asked one of them, I said, dude, what did you do? He goes, I don't know, but it was so pretty. I was in the pond, but it was so awesome.
It was so awesome.
Big mortars going across a golf course, rolling on fire.
Oh, that's not
and then
good.
blowing up, kabloom on the ground. Yeah,
It's like a war zone at this point.
I mean, basically, you're talking about sticks of dynamite, guys.
Yeah, you are. You really are.
Small versions, but have you ever had a firecracker blow up in your hand?
No, I never have.
And you never feel your heartbeat in your hand like you do after that.
Boom.
Yeah, and it's just like boom, 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 and it hurts.
Yeah,
so
I'm
bad.
sure it does. Well, this is the concussion from it.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
It's bad. But anyway, kids, don't do anything we just talked about. Please don't. This is not something you should ever do. That's dumber than a box full of hair, so just don't do it. We're just, like I said, it's a caution.
You know, to this day, they don't know how those got set off in the truck. They really don't.
They don't?
They don't know what happened. He still doesn't know exactly what happened, but all of a sudden, there was a fire in the truck, and it's on, baby. Run
away.
Did you ever deal with any of the M80s? Did you ever mess with those?
A little bit. Though, I don't know. Dad used to tell tales of when he was a kid.
Cherry bombs.
Yeah, that they used to be a lot more powerful when he was a kid. He said they were like literally quarter sticks of dynamite.
Yep.
And now, I think by the time they got to us that they said, maybe we need to amp it down a little bit.
But they would definitely, that was a different explosion.
Yeah.
For sure. Even our version was a different explosion.
Yeah. So, guys, welcome to the Beavis and Butthead, the Retro Show podcast. If you'd like to, it's called Fire. Please, folks, go to retroshow.net if you'd like to check out all of our particulars there. We have links to our social media. We have links to playlist. We have links to different places to listen to this podcast. And, guys, we really do appreciate you listening. If you could tell a friend and
tell your mother.
Say hello to your mother for me. Say hello to your mother.
Tell her the big baloney says hello.
Hello. But listen, we love you guys. We're glad you could join us.
Hey, be safe on this 4th of July, guys.
Yeah, be safe on the 4th of July.
Be smart and be safe.
Be smart, be safe. Honestly, just go out and watch someone else do the fireworks. You'll save money, and they're better fireworks than you can buy anyway.
Take your best girl with you. They chicks dig fireworks.
Yeah, and don't let your wife know you're taking her, because then it's just a headache,